What lessons can you learn from the route I took to get into investment banking? I'll briefly outline what my journey into investment banking was. My undergrad degree was in finance and it was for 4 years. And it was 4 years because I had to do a compulsory placement year. And honestly, this was a game changer for me because more or less, if you do a placement year, you're leaving university with 1 year's experience straight away, which I think most business schools should encourage, because I think most business schools, a placement year is only optional, but if it's compulsory, I think it makes such a huge difference. Because most of my friends that did placement years work in Goldman Sachs, MUFG, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, more or less doing a placement year is such a huge benefit. So I did a placement year during university and I interned for a year at a small Nigerian bank. I then went on to do a master's in banking and finance, and I did a master's because if you're Nigerian, most Nigerian parents want you to have an undergrad degree and a master's so they can boast to their friends. That was more or less the main reason, to be honest. After my master's degree, I then interned at the biggest Canadian bank in the world. I did that more or less for 3 months. I then went on to work at a credit research firm for 1 month, and then after that, I landed a job at a big investment bank. So as you can see, my route wasn't straightforward. But what lessons can you learn from this? The first one, and the most important one, is I encourage you to study finance, economics, or any quantitative subject for your undergrad, because this will put you in the best light to land a banking role. Most people will tell you can study sociology, psychology, HR, and land a banking role. This is 100% true. Like, this is not a lie. But also the truth is, if you study finance, economics, accounting, quantitative finance, math, if you study those at university, you put yourself, or you give yourself, the best chance of landing that role, because when you leave university, you more or less already have the knowledge and the business acumen required to perform the banking role. So for me, I always kind of knew I wanted to land a banking job. So for undergrad, I studied finance, and also I would encourage everyone to do a placement year. Having 1 year experience before leaving university makes such a huge difference, because then when you're applying for graduate jobs, you already have 1 year's experience. And it doesn't matter if where you have the experience isn't in the role you want to perform in the future. It really doesn't matter. As long as that role is in some sort of financial services or even not related, it shows that this person has worked for a year, which is very good. And also, if the field where you intern for a year is related to the field you want to go into. So for example, if you intern in sales and trading at Goldman Sachs and you're applying for a full-time role at Morgan Stanley in sales and trading, it shows the person interviewing you that this person already has some knowledge and already knows how to work in a high intense environment, and that should come across during the interview. You should be able to relate to the interviewer more because you know what it's like to work on the trading floor, and if that can come across more, become more personable. Something else I encourage, which might sound counterintuitive, is not to use the career service. This sounds crazy. A lot of times, the career service are not people with finance backgrounds. They are not people that have worked in the industry. More times than not, in my experience, they actually give very bad advice and not actually very hard when doing mock interviews. To me, it's best to find someone like myself, for example. It doesn't even have to be me. It could literally be anyone that works in finance and offers a career service. And you might say to me, you're just trying to get clients. But no, the truth is, if you can find someone that's prior experience in banking or someone that's worked in banking before, they are the best people to go to for CV advice, cover letter advice, and how to prepare for interviews. Because the career services at universities more or less provide very general advice, which is not entirely suitable to banking. And also for mock interviews, it's best to utilize a friend that can be very impartial, that knows about finance, because when it's a mock interview and you answer and the career person asks you what's a bond, you can more or less give a very shitty answer and they might not know if it's correct or not. If you're being interviewed by a friend and you have a bad answer, the friend's like, hey, that was some shit answer, like do that again. And you have to find a friend that's very impartial, or alternatively, you can more or less record yourself answering the question, rewatch it, and then iterate that answer until you're very happy with it. The next tip I'll give is to try and secure a summer internship during your undergrad degree. The easiest way to land a banking role is to convert a summer internship into a full-time role. Now, as you can see from my route, I didn't do any summer internships during my undergrad, and that's because I did a placement year, and actually I didn't even realize that summer internships were happening because I was more or less partying the whole time. So if you can secure a summer internship and try and convert that into a full-time role, I've done a lot of videos on how to convert a summer internship. I think that's your best bet. There's no point trying to see if you can secure an analyst position when you graduate, because more times than not, those roles are very limited. If you're enjoying the video so far, drop a like and leave a comment. It goes a long way. And let me know what else you want to see from me in the future. Literally, let me know and I'll talk about it. I would also say, don't spend time trying to go for every single networking event. I think you can go for 1 or 2 during the year and that's it, because going for a networking event really doesn't help you reach your goal. I mean, you could ask specific questions to people there, but if your whole plan is to go for a networking event, meet someone that works in Goldman Sachs, get them to like you, and then somehow when you apply for a job, they would somehow see your CV and then pick you for the role. It's not going to happen that way, and it hasn't happened that way way in a long time. Like, there's no real favoritism when it comes to applying for jobs. So don't spend all your time thinking every single network event that happens on campus or off campus, I need to go for it. Like, there's literally no point. Go for one or two and actually pick specifically what event you want to go for. I would also say doing a master's can definitely help you, but not in a causality way, more of a correlation way. Before I did my master's, I already interned at the bank and also had my undergrad in finance. So doing a master's was just meant to help me develop more banking and finance knowledge, even though I did finance for my undergrad. And I think it really helped me secure my full-time job, because when I got to the interview, I didn't need to start studying what's a bond, what's equity, what's an option, what's FX. I didn't need to study any of those financial concepts, because by doing a master's, you more or less have it at the tip of your fingertips. Like, you can literally recall everything and actually go into a lot more detail than you could do if you just had an undergrad. So I think that's where a master's is very useful. It equips you with so much in-depth finance knowledge that when you go for an interview, you can literally wow the interviewer. And that's how doing a master's can help you. Something else I want to emphasize is when applying for banking roles, you first have to accept the fact that you'll probably not get the role. And this might sound very weird, but you need to accept the fact that most of you watching this video now will probably not get the role, because there's like maybe 5 roles for every 1,000 people. Of course, you can't all get the role. Once you accept that fact, it makes dealing with rejection emails a lot more easier. The problem is a lot of people feel entitled to landing a banking job. They believe that because they're Cambridge, Oxford, or because they're Coventry studying finance, that banking role is made for them. But the truth is, it's not made for you, it's not made for me. It's honestly a bit of luck trying to land the role. And if you accept that, when you get a rejection email, you don't feel depressed, then decide not to apply for more jobs during the day. But also, in the same breath, you need to believe that you can land that banking role. You need to believe that although the probability is 0.01%, I can be that one person out of 1,000 people to land that job. And that was the mentality I had. I knew landing this job would be very hard. So when I got rejected by Citi, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, RBC, Credit Suisse, name the bank, I felt at ease, because I was like, you know what, I got rejected, but I believe I'm still good enough to land the role. And that never stopped me from applying for more jobs. In fact, for me, it was when I got rejected once, literally 2 minutes later, I'm sending off another application, because that's how I literally saw it. Get rejected, and that email is going straight away. Like, literally like that. One in, one out. That's how I literally saw applying for banking job. And you honestly need to have the belief that hands down, that if you're in front of the interviewer, you get that banking role. Because if you don't have that, I go for an interview, that's going to show straight away. If you go for an interview, interviewers are going to reward confidence, 100%. So if during the interview, deep down, you believe that they can't hire you or you're not good enough for the role, it's going to show, because your answers are going to be very disjointed. You won't look straight in the interviewer's eyes. Your body language is going to be off, and it just comes across like you don't really want the role, when it's not because you don't really want it. It's more the fact that you don't feel like you deserve the role. And no one deserves anything, but if you feel like I can get this role I'm currently interviewing for. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you found that useful. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.